Hello quad folks. Today I need to remove the drum from this Mark 20 video head. This is one that came with a bunch of spare parts a while back, and the note on the box said seized, as in stuck, and indeed it is stuck. So I'm going to take the assembly apart and see if we can see what exactly is stuck, whether it's the air bearing to the drum or maybe the motor shaft to one of the poles. That's what I see more than anything, is if there's been moisture in the air supply, then you know, if this head was removed with a little bit of moisture in the line, then the pole pieces on the motor, the windings, are iron laminations, and that likes to rust, you know, if it gets damp or moist. And of course the rust will cause the shaft to seize. Of course, the other and the more serious problem would be if the drum has seized to the air bearing surface, you know, due to grit or some foreign particles becoming embedded. That's a little bit harder to fix. So let's tear into this thing and see what we find. Just looking at the outer case, it does feel a bit corroded, the galvanized sheet metal. So that's not good when you see that. That's an indication that there has been some moisture at some time or the other. Well, the inside looks somewhat better. I don't know, there's some corrosion. So there has been some moisture present at some time or the other. Screw. Let's see. Yep, it's stuck. So now what we need to do is well, let's see. We can get to 2 sets of head coils here. We might be able to get to the 3rd set there. But I don't know if we can reach the 4th set or not. Well, let's see. We can probably get one lug from this side and maybe get the other lug from this side, so we can loosen the rotary transformer and pull it away from the drum and the motor shaft to get access to the bolts that holds the drum on. Okay, we'll give that a try here. Get our soldering iron warming up. Still connected. It was really difficult to get off. Okay, finally. Now the last one's way in the back. It's going to be... Let's see what... I'd be able to... Alright, so now we have the 8 wires disconnected from the 4 tips. So now we should be able to unbolt the rotary transformer and pull it away from the motor. Let's see. Well, maybe not. You want to be very careful with this little spring. And put it in a nice, safe place. Now, we're down to the head bolts, or the screws that hold the drum on the motor. Let's see if we can see if that's quite right size. Here we go. Well, that does not look all that bad. There's some minor scratching and scoring, but there's nothing, that would indicate a seize. Actually, that could be lapped, polished out fairly easily. So I don't think that was the problem. We'll take a little look here at the air bearing surface. And again, I'm just seeing minor scoring. Nothing, no big digs or anything that would indicate a seize. And again, this can be lapped and polished out without a whole lot of difficulty. So we need to look a little deeper here to figure out what did seize up. See, now that should be just as free as, you know, and loose, and it's not, it's tight. So we could have something between the tack disc and the tack air bearing, but if we were to tap the shaft out a little, see, now there's nothing touching there, so that kind of makes me think that it's probably the motor and the pole pieces have seized, probably due to rusting, you know, or a bad air supply with moisture in it has caused the iron pole pieces of the motor to rust. So let's see if we can pull this thing on out. Okay, there is the source of the problem, right there. Now, I don't know how good you can see that on camera. This is shiny like a mirror. But now we're seeing some major rubbing has taken place. On these bearing journals for the air bearing. Now this is the head side, and this is the back side where the tack disc is, and the tack disc surface looks good and clean and smooth. Let's see. No, we don't really have anything going on the back, and it was right up here on the front end. Okay, well that's not all that bad. So I think this will all polish up fairly nicely. And maybe we can recover this head assembly. Make it run again. Now right here we have a little bit of something right there. So we should take a look down inside the motor and see if we can see any rust on the pole pieces. Oh yeah, I can see some stuff on the pole pieces. So that needs to be sanded and clean, lapped down, and clean up the debris. That's probably corrosion and rust from moisture in the air supply. And yep. The only thing that I worry about, you know, when you have a situation like this is yeah, it's kind of green looking right there on the end of that pole piece. Yep. I don't know if that's sealer or if that's corrosion. It could be sealer from the winding, sealer or epoxy. I'll have to look at that a little bit closer. What worries me when I see corrosion or rust that's made it this far into the head is, are there any particles in the airways between the inlets and the orifices where the air comes out on the air bearings? And if there is, if you have it here, then you know it's probably here in the pipeline as well. So if you clean all this up, put it back together and put air on it, you might be blowing more corrosion into the motor from the air lines, you know, between here and the motor. So that's, you know, a possibility when you start working with this type of a problem or damage. So what I think I'm going to do before I do that and go to all that work and trouble is I can clean this drum up and lap it smooth again, and we can mount this drum on our test head here and line it up, and we can check the tip projection to see if it's, you know, how good it is, how much wear it has, and look at it with the microscope to see if there's any damage to the tips. And, you know, if the windings are good and the tips are not damaged and there's still a lot of hours left on it, then yeah, we might give that a try, see if we can clean up the motor and the airways and reassemble it. Of course, if the drum is not usable or it's got a lot of wear on it, then it's not really a lot of point to fix this, you know, without that being good, and just use this for spare parts. So anyway, I hope this has been a little entertaining to you, and maybe you learned a couple things that you didn't know before about these old video heads. Thanks for watching.